Hello, everyone. Welcome to this day one of our training session. So thank you so much for joining this session. And we will be talking about, we'll be practicing data analytics. Okay. Um, so at a high level, right? At a high level, we'll be doing Excel, SQL, and then we'll go to Python. Okay. That's the format. And then towards the end, we'll look at the visualization, right? And of course, right, SQL is not just one, right? We have performance tuning and all those aspects. So we'll cover step by step. We'll start with Excel. Some of you, of course, might have used it, but still what I'll do is I'll start with basic stuff, and slowly we will go to advanced stuff in Excel, and we'll see how to perform analysis within Excel first, right? Okay. So first today we look at the overview of Excel. And when you open an Excel file, this is what you see, right? Something similar. I have an older version, but doesn't matter. The core functionalities remain so, right? And here you have tabs. You can have multiple number of tabs, right? Okay. And the information is stored in row and column format. Each of these is rows, and rows are represented as 1, 2, 3, 4, correct? It goes on. And then you have columns here, which is represented as A, B, C, D, correct? Then here, these are your menu tabs. So home, insert, you have file here, correct? Page layout, formula, okay, data. We will go one by one and we'll see most of these functionalities. So as I said, first we look at the basic stuff, okay? So let's create a sample, a table, okay? So let's say we call this as, and again, I want it to be interactive, couple of rules, that's all, okay? One, I want it to be interactive, ask me questions, suggestions, give me ideas, okay? Second thing is, don't practice along with me, okay? I want you to be more interactive and talk more, because anyway you'll be getting the recordings, right? And whatever Excel file I'm going to create, that also I'm going to share. So you don't have to practice now, okay? Because when you practice now, your focus will be on your practice, on your output, and not so much on the learning. So I want you to focus on my screen, and give me ideas. Tell me, why don't we add this row? Why don't we add that column? How do we do that? Okay, let's make it more interactive. And you will have 24 hours to practice, isn't it? So use that 24 hours to practice. Sounds good? Okay. So let's say I want to create a table and I call this as students, right? So I have named the sheet as students, okay? And let me add some column names, right? So maybe I'll add student ID, okay? And I will add name, okay? Maybe roll number should, oops. So now you see this on your computer, you have home and button, right? And you have arrow. So you can move around Excel using arrow. You can use home, you can use end, okay, to move to end of this. So see, on when I was on A, okay, I put end and right key, it took me to the last column here. And last column is represented by XFD. Okay, so if I put home, I'll go back to A, right? This is how you can move around using keys. Okay, so next I'll say roll number. Okay, then I'm going to talk about name. Okay, what else? Okay, let's say date of birth, DOB, right? Let's add some, okay, so let's do age here, okay? So student, roll number, name, DOB, age, city. I want to have some numeric as well. marks, let's say marks, let's say marks. Okay. So let's say I have these 7 columns here. Okay. So now to make it look good, we can select and we can make it bold. Okay. We can maybe shade the cells. I can go to home and you have this painter here, right? Fill color. So you can fill a particular color. Okay. And let's say I put here gray color. Now see, these lines may not look good, isn't it? So what generally I do is I select, if you click here, you see this little triangle here. And if you click all the complete rows and columns, each cell. Okay, so this each of these are called as cell, correct? So each cell represents your column and row. Generally, we mention row first and then column, right? So this is the third row and the column is H. But we write it as H3 and you can see it here in the output also. So if I put my cursor here, it is indicated as H3, right? So the cell number or reference is H3. Okay, so again, if I click here, it says L and row is 17. So L17 is the reference of this cell. So if I click on this, okay, on the top here, complete Excel is selected. Okay, so generally what I do is, at first I'll put white, option here. So when you say white, that lines that you saw, right, that is hidden because it's painted all white, correct? Now what I can do is I can, adjust the width. Okay, so maybe roll number may not be that big, but name will definitely be big, right? So I make it name big, date of birth probably small, age, okay. Now city, marks, let's say, this is what I have done. Now I'll put student ID as 1, okay. Student ID as 1. Roll number, let's say I put 101, okay. And name, let's say I put Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, DOB, okay, let's select, okay, so there are various ways of assigning date, okay. So the best way, okay, is to put it in the date and the month in the text format. So if I have to say, say 5th January 1978, let's say. So 5 hyphen JAN, okay, 5 hyphen JAN hyphen 2022. Hit enter. Okay, so generally it is displayed as 2-digit. So you see this 05 Jan 2022. Now again, you can change the format. This is default format, but you can right click on it. Okay. Right click on it and say format cells, right? And you can go and select the format that you want. So there are format, if you see here, right click and format. There are multiple formats here. You have format for number, you have format for currency, for accounting, date, time, percentage, fractions, all those things. So we want to format the date, right? So I come to date, I click on date. These are the options available. Okay. And you can also create your own. Okay. So now if you see here, it says 14/03/2012. So 14 means, this is the Indian style of writing the date, right? Date, DD, MM, and year in 4-digit. You can even format it to 14 March 2012. So there is no comma or anything hyphen here. Okay. Then this is another way of writing. You can select, okay, by default it is set to English India, right? Because when I installed operating system, I used English India as local. That's why you see like this. Okay. But you can change the format based on your requirement. Okay. You can say Wednesday, 14th March, or you can go and change it to, let's say, Canada style. So you get Canadian style, things like that. But for now, I just want to have this default one. Advantage with default one is you can have this default one, and whenever you want to change to a particular format, you can do that. Okay. Now age, I want it to be dynamic. I want it to get calculated automatically. Okay. So for now, I'll leave it blank. I'll come back to it after I fill other details. Okay. So, okay, now I move to city. Okay. Now city, it will be a text. So I say Mumbai, let's say, and then marks, right? So marks percentage, let me put it as 92.12%. Okay. So, okay, I have filled in all these details. Now let's come to age calculation. Now age, how do we calculate? We calculate today's date minus the date of birth, isn't it? So how do you get today's date in Excel? To get today's date in Excel, okay, we need to write a formula. Okay, when you're writing a formula, see, one thing is that you can directly type here something like this, Sachin Tendulkar or date, whatever we have done, right? We have added this information by typing it here. But when you want to create some formula, okay, you can use equal to. And if you use equal to, it's no harm. Okay? I can say equal to, but then it is expecting some formula here. Okay, so there's no formula called Sachin Tendulkar. So that's why when I hit enter, okay, it gives me error. But I can say that Sachin Tendulkar is a text. So I can put it something like this here. Okay, so okay, it is creating problem because the text, okay, has to be in double quotation here. So I said equal to Sachin Tendulkar double quotation. So now it knows, okay, equal to, and this is a fixed value. So when you put something in double quotation, see, when you say formula, right? Now, okay, let's say I ask you 3 plus 5, okay, or 3 plus 5. Now, when I say 3 plus 5, your mind will calculate 3 plus 5, 8, isn't it? Because you see a plus sign here. But if I give some sign like this, then you'll be wondering, what is this at the rate? Same thing happened when I gave equal to Sachin Tendulkar or equal to single quote Sachin Tendulkar. Excel was wondering, what is it? I didn't understand. Okay. But when I said equal to, it knows, okay, I'm going to calculate a formula. And if I say 3 plus 5, okay, you get 3 plus 5 as it is. So when you write something in quotation, it is a text type and information is saved as it is. It is not calculated, it is not evaluated. The same thing if I type 3 plus 5 now, okay, and hit enter, you see the value is set as number. Because when I say 3 plus 5, it added equal to 3 plus 5, it added, it evaluated. So when you want to evaluate, you want to perform some logic, that's when we use equal to. Otherwise, 3 plus 5, you can write it like this also, okay? It doesn't evaluate. But if you want to evaluate, we have to say equal to. Is it clear? Now, one more thing you should see here is the text information, okay, is always left aligned. Okay, so if I expand this line, you see student ID is a text, so it is left aligned. And your numbers will always be right aligned. Okay, so sometimes when you see a number left aligned, okay, you should understand that there's something wrong. Okay, the number may not be a number or could be a text. So see, I converted 1 to text, it became left aligned. Okay, and if I leave it like a number, it is right aligned. So numbers and dates will always be right aligned and your text will always be left aligned. Okay, number right aligned, date right aligned. Okay, number right aligned, right aligned. But text, if you see all the headers, Sachin Tendulkar, Mumbai, it is all left aligned. So sometimes it may not look good, right? Student ID is here and 1 is here. It may not look good. So, I prefer personally, what I prefer is I make it as all center aligned. I'll select these columns and this is how you align. This is under home and you can do upper aligned, middle aligned, lower aligned, left, center, right. Okay, I'll put center aligned. In this case, everything is aligned at the center. So you can always change the alignment. Okay, so I have student ID here, maybe roll number should be fine. Okay, name, date of birth. Okay. Now I told you about age, isn't it? Age has to be today's date minus the date of birth. So what is today's date? So I say equal to, okay, I say equal to, and I put today here. So the moment I start writing, right, it is suggesting me all the formula that is available in Excel. T, starting with T. The moment I say O, not 0, O. So there is only one option called today. And today is a function. So you have to say today, bracket open and close. So see, this is today's date. Okay, 9th 11. Okay, 2022. For me, it is 9th already, right? So you get 9/11/2022. Okay, now I need to find the age. So I'll do this minus, okay, this minus, okay. Now you see, I can write his date of birth here, 05-01-, okay, it obviously is not 2022, it has to be 1978, let's say. Okay, so 1978. Okay, it did some calculation. Okay, so today minus 5, because it's a minus thing, right? So today minus 5, so 5 days back, then 1 day back, then 1978 days back. Okay, so approximately it will be about 7 years back, right? That's why you see 17 years, because it is treating each of these as numbers. Okay, but these are actually our dates, isn't it? So what we can do directly here is, since this date of birth is column, I mean, this column already exists and this has data, I can simply say today minus, okay, DOB here. Okay, now this has to be okay, so okay, before I talk about it, let me take a sample date here. Let's say I say today here. Okay, there is a reference date. Okay, in Excel, all the date actually starts from, okay, um, a particular date. Okay, so if I go and I say right click here, okay, and I say format date cell number, okay, I'll convert this number and I'll not put any decimal places. I say okay. So it has converted this to 44,874, isn't it? Now, okay. So, what do you think this 44,000 is? I typed today's date, right? And then I convert it into number. I got this 44,000. So what do you think this 44,000 would be? Any guess? Okay. This is your date from that reference date. Okay. Okay. So, so it tells you the number of days since that reference date. So 44,874 days back. Now again, age, if I go and I have today's date minus this date. Now I'll convert this into number. Okay, remove the decimal point. Okay, so it says there are so many days. Okay, this gives you the days from 1978. So if you calculate roughly from 5th Jan 78 till today, we have 16,379 days. But that's not how we write age, right? How do we write age? We write age by number of years, right?
Yes.
So this is number of days since date of birth. Okay, so Sachin Tendulkar is now 16,000 days old, 16,379 days old. But if I have to do years, okay, so I can divide this by, okay, I will put the formula here. Okay, so when I put this formula first, this bracket content will be executed, right? So that age minus today is going to give you,
Sorry for the interruption.
no
Sir,
problem.
can you please repeat from the value how the value came on the K column?
Okay, let me see if I've started
Because
recording.
I
Yes.
did not understand.
K,
Yeah.
you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, um, 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 there is a date here. Okay. I'm just trying. I'm just trying to recollect. Okay. I think it
Yeah.
is 1st Jan 1900. Okay. So
Okay.
let me put this here. 01 dash okay, 02 dash 01 dash 1900. Okay. So see here. So the counting of date in Excel has started from 1st Jan 1900. Okay. So when you convert a date to number, you can convert a date to number. Okay. So when you convert a
Okay.
date to number, it converts the number of days since 1900. So when I gave
Okay.
2nd Jan 1900, it gave me 2 days. So date is always referred from 1900 in Excel. Okay.
Okay.
So when I put today's date, okay, when I say today, okay, so it gives us 44,000. So these are the number of days since 1900.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is from
To the
1900. Yeah.
to
Till today.
yeah. Yeah. Till today. Yes, that's right. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Got it, sir.
Right. Sure. And when I did today minus D2, D2 is 5th Jan. Okay. So it
Okay.
gives
Yeah.
us the number of days since 5th Jan 78.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that means this fellow is 16,000 days old, right? But
Oh,
we don't want
yes.
days. The age will be in years, isn't it?
Oh.
So
Okay.
you can go and divide this by 365. So first we have to calculate the difference, right? So today minus D2 in bracket. So first this difference is calculated. Now I'm going to say 365. Generally,
Yeah.
some people will put 365.25 because, leap year is 366 days, correct? So if you say
That's
365 by 0.25, you're taking care of leap year as well. So,
oh,
and in age, when you talk about years, 1 or 2 days here or there doesn't matter that much, right? But if you want to be precise, you can say 365.25. Now I hit enter. So this is 45. So now you know the age is 45 years. Correct? Is it 45? 78 to 2002. Approximately, right? Because it is January. So and this is November, right? So it's more than 44 and a half. So you get 45. If I make it as November, okay, so um, November, let's say, now you get 44, correct? So approximately, yes, this is right. This is how the age is calculated. So now age is 45. The age we are not calculating, we are not asking the user. You can't ask date of birth and age both from a user. Doesn't make sense, right? If they give date of birth, it's good enough for you to calculate age, and this is what we are doing. So age in years is 45 years. Any questions so far?
no, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So this is how. So let's say you want to highlight it. Just it looks good. I like to highlight it. So it looks good. You can give a dark background, and text can be something light. So you can use white or yellow, or yellow or whatever, right? So this is how you have header and the column. Okay. Now let's say this student ID, okay, is 1, 2, 3, 4 automatically. Now, when you have a certain series, right, Excel actually helps us to do auto generate. Okay. So when I say 1, 2, 3, right? So Excel is trying to understand what am I doing. Okay. So it is watching. Now I want. Can you go on mute if you're not talking? I'll mute you. Yeah. So see here, I've created 1, 2, 3. And now what I'm doing, I'm going to select these 3 cells. I'm selecting, okay? And when you put your cursor at the bottom right corner of the last cell, you will get this plus sign. Plus sign means you are ready to drag. And when I drag here, you see, it is automatically creating the numbers for me. You see this? Okay. You can, go up to, let's say I want to go up to 20. So I come here and I leave it. Automatically this is created. So this auto generation, okay, is created based on the formula that you have given before, and it actually, copies the formula. Okay, it copies the formula. Okay, now since here I gave 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, 2, 3. It kind of knew that, okay, I want to generate, right? See, Excel is trying to predict what you're doing. Okay, so when you say 1, 2, 3, and then I copy and drag, it's called fill. Okay, the what I just did is called filling. Okay, filling. So when I drag, it tries to copy the logic which I wrote before it. So I said 1, 2, 3. So it tries to copy that logic of 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, again, if I do 1, and now if I try to drag, okay, you see 1 is getting copied. Okay. So if I have to put, say, city, okay, as Mumbai, and I want to say repeat the same city for all the 20 people, I can just copy and fill with 20, Mumbai. Now let's say if I say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, okay, or I mean, you don't have to do 4, let's say 3, okay, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Now I copied and I try to drag. You see this? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, it is automatically repeating, isn't it? So it tries to understand what you want to do, and it goes in cycle, correct? So it will try to repeat all these things. So day, months, let's say, you have Jan, Feb, March, and again you want to repeat it. You just say Jan, Feb, March, you put 3 values, Jan, Feb, March, and then select and start dragging or filling. It will go to December and then again start from Jan. So these are useful tools, okay? They're useful to know because this will save a lot of your time. Correct? So I want to delete the entire content. I'll just go and I say delete here. Fine. Now roll number, again, roll number 2, I want to generate. Right? I want to generate as 1, 2, 3. So select and I generate. So see, it has generated this thing for me. Now, again, one more thing you have to, I'll show you is, let's say I select here, right? And I don't want to drag it. I'll go to this plus and I'll just double click. What I did, I just double clicked. Okay. So 1, 2, 3 on this plus sign, double click. It has automatically created all the data, me without even dragging. 2 things have to keep in mind here. One, how does it know It knows because I have said 101, 102, 103. So obvious logic is 101, 3, 104, 105, so on. Up to where you need to print, up to the left side column. Okay. If this column was empty, then I could not have done it. So that's why when I was doing student ID, there is no column on the left side of student ID. There's no column on the left of A for it to know till where I need to go. Okay. So if I, go here and I go to the plus and I double click on it. Okay. Now here it has reference on the right side, right? But let's say I delete the right side data and I delete this data as well. Now when I go to 1, 2, 3 and I try to do double click, okay, it is there now because it is reading from Mumbai, right? So it is going to look on the left side first, then immediate right side, then somewhere nearby. So always it looks on the left side. Now let's say if you are the first column to do that, it wouldn't have gone any further. So once at least you'll have to drag. From next time onwards, you simply 102, 103, 3 values you put, select, double click. Okay, select, just double click because it's anyway text, right? Just one data, select and double click and it will populate all of this information. Okay. So maybe giving 20 is too much. Let me delete this. Okay, we'll play with 10. I'm going to add some data here. So Sachin, Rahul, Dravid, Lakshman, Rahul, Rohit, Virat, Rahir, Ashish, okay, let's say I did this. And date of birth, again, I'm just giving some data here, okay? So here it is date, so it is just added 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let's say this is what I want. Now you see here. Now the formula, okay? Formula, you have to be careful, okay? And that's what we're going to do today, and maybe we'll spend even tomorrow a little bit time on doing this formula here. Now, it's called a reference formula, okay? See, today minus D2. If it is here, okay, and depending upon which side I move, now today is a fixed value, which is going to give us today's time, correct? Now, if I move to the right, okay, to the right, D2 will become something which is in right of D2. What is right of D2? What is in right of D2?
Like what you're saying, Swapnil, like
What is on right of D2? What comes on right of D2? What comes to the right of D2? What comes right, after E?
EF, like you're saying.
F, right? So what comes
Yeah.
after D2? Right of D2.
E2.
Exactly. Okay. It comes E2. Okay. So let me do it here. Okay. So let's say I have this data here and I just go and copy this entire thing from here and let me put it here. Okay. And I'll make this as, 45. Okay, we'll talk about mathematical operation, how to do floor and seal, okay, round, those things also we'll do step by step. Okay, now, okay, so here itself, okay, instead of doing, let's say it was like this, right? I want to do the round off, right? So I'll put another function here called round function. You have a round function in Excel. So I'll say ROUND bracket open and I think whatever you are doing, whatever you are getting, round it off. So round it off. You have entered. Okay. So we'll see that. I don't know why it's not taking. Is it because of okay, I have this done here, right? So you can have functions within a functions, okay? And first the inner function will be evaluated, and then the outer, and outer, finally the outermost function will be evaluated. So in fact, round, I did not read the error. Let's see the error. Okay, so you have this number, right? And then how many digits you want to round it off, right? So when you write the round, right, it shows number, comma, number of digit. So this whatever is the output of this is what you want as number, right? And round it off to 0 decimal places. Okay, so 0 decimal places. So that's why we give 0 here. So this entire thing is the output of number, correct? I'm saying up to 0. Okay, so you get rounded off to 45. Then you have something called the ceil and floor. Floor, see, round it off. When you have 33.4, rounding it off will make it 33, correct? If you have 33.8, rounding it off will give you 34, correct? But if you do, this is round off 0, right? Now, if you do floor is always lower value, okay? So this will create 33, and this will also create 33. It will always be the lower value. Even if you go 39.99999, it will be 33 only. Okay, why? Let's say, how many people do you need? Correct? Let's say question is in the whatever you're doing something. So to do this kind of work, how many people do you need? You calculate using mathematics, you get 33.333. Now you cannot say I need 33.33 people, right? Either you say 33 or 34, correct? So even if you need 33.1, 33.01, that means you need more than 33 people, right? So even more than 33 people means what? You need 34 people. So there we will use not round, but ceil. Ceiling, top, roof, floor, down, ceiling, top, okay? Ceiling will always be the higher value. It will be 34 and 34. Floor will always give you the lower value, 33, 33. Whether it's 33.99 will also be 33. 33.000900001 will also be 34. But round off, we'll look at whether it is less than 0.5 or more than 0.5. 0.5, okay, then it will perform floor operation. If it is more than 0.5, it performs ceiling operation. But ceiling operation will always take higher value, okay? So you can choose depending upon the business problem. Sometimes round off doesn't help, right? So this example, how many people do you need to accomplish this task? Now, how many days do we need to finish this training? If I tell you 45.1 day, so that means that we need more than 45 days, right? We need to do in 46 sessions, correct? So that's why ceiling is important here. Okay. So yeah, so this is about the formula, ceiling, round, and floor. I was talking about age calculation. Yes. Any questions? Yeah.
Yes, like floor and seal you said, right? Like which
Yeah.
one we need to choose, like
That's what,
like
depending upon the business
type-
problem. Okay. So all the three options are there: round, ceiling, and floor, right? Now, for example, okay.
like
See,
okay.
yeah, okay, let me tell you.
I
So
mean this is the nearest kind, but like business requirement also we need to choose, right? Like
yeah, business, see, whatever you do is derived from business requirement, okay? So let me give you example for all the three, okay? Now, you know the price, okay, the cost, at most we do is 2 decimal places, correct? Let's say when you get a credit card statement, they'll add something and they will ask you, or they will ask you for um, uh, what do you say, statement, let's say. So they calculated, okay, and let's say your total bill for that month came to 1,200 point $4, let's say 1,200 0.4. Okay, now generally they will charge you in dollars, full dollar. what they will, even though it is 0.4, they don't want to lose this 40 cent. So they'll ask you to pay 1201, right? Maybe 60 cents they might adjust the next one, that's different thing. They'll ask you to make 1201. So see here, even though it is 0.4, okay, it is now 1201. Now, if you ask me, how many sessions do we need to complete this training? Okay, so I'll say, okay, based on this, I need 45.2 sessions, 45.2 days to complete. What does this mean? 45.2? We cannot just start and end in 10 minutes, right? So we need to create 46 sessions, isn't it? So these are situations where round off will not work, but ceiling will work. Always you look for the higher value, correct? There is a situation where floor will work. Let's say our age, right? So let's say, today is your 20th birthday, today. Now, from tomorrow, you're not going to say that you are 21-year-old, right? You will say 20-year-old only till your next birthday, right? So even let's say by 1st November 2023, which are just 1 week away from 21st birthday, still you will say you're 28th only, right? We are using floor in that case. See, floor, here what happened was, when we say January, it is 45, but when we say November, it becomes 44, because it is 44.8 something. That's what we saw here, right? 44.8 something. Since it is 8, it is converting into 45. But let's say, no, I know, I don't want it to be like 44 when it is more than half month. I want to be called 45 when I reach 45. Till 1 day before you're 20 only, correct? So in this case, I can use floor.
That means like for age, like one kind of requirement, for price will be keep one kind of
Exactly.
it depends on the column and like depends on that one. We'll choose the floor or seal or ground.
Exactly. And that's what I said. Business means this is what, how many days, what is the money, how much you have to pay, what is your age. So based on that, you will decide, oh, I need to use round or ceiling or floor. So see,
Okay.
I used floor here and it became 44. Floor, the entire value, and significant 1. Significant 1 means up to
Yeah,
1,
less.
multiples of 1 full 1, not
It
0.1.
means I will calculate 45, right? Like 44 point also it will calculate 45.
No, floor I've used, right?
I'm saying like about seal. Seal means it
So,
will
yes,
take
it will be,
45,
yes,
right?
correct. Seal will always be 45.
So that's why we're choosing floor. Like we are needing
Correct.
accurate
Exactly.
instead of the nearest one.
Nearest one. Exactly. Okay. So this is about floor and ceiling. Now coming to this topic here. Okay. So see, I have this value here. Now I'm generating a formula with 45. Okay. Well, how do we get 45? We get 45 because we did today minus D2. Okay. Important thing here is D2. Okay. Now, when I am copying and moving this side, I'm moving to the right. Okay. I copied the same thing. Okay. Filling or dragging, whatever. I'm dragging to the right. What is happening is the things which are constant will remain constant. Thing which is not constant, which is we call it as reference, which is referencing something else, will change the reference. So now if when you click here on this, you see round today 365.25 comma 0, everything remains same. What got changed is D2 became E2. So that's why I asked you what is on right of D2. The right of D2 is E2, correct? D2 is here and right of D2 is E2. So when you move to the right, D2 will become E2. Now again, if I move to the right,
Okay, got it.
right?
I'm thinking like it is in an F19 cell, right? So maybe it took F.
No,
Okay.
no, because I'm referencing to D2, right? It is always to what you refer. Okay. I'm referencing D2. That's why it is becoming E2.
It,
Okay.
right
If
to
I move to
trying
the
to
right.
write right?
Correct.
That is taking E2. But if we drag to the down means it will like D3, like D4, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we should not drag the right side, like we should
So
drag.
depending upon, that's what again. Okay, depending upon. Now in this case, in our example, we need to drag down,
Okay.
right? So that's what I'll do that and show you. But when
Yeah,
you
that's
drag to the right, it will change. Now if I come here, so E2 was here, so right of E2 is F2.
okay.
Now if I copy this and paste it down here, down of F2 is F3.
That's okay.
Correct? Now
Yeah.
I do not want it to change. I want to fix it. Okay. I want it to fix it. Okay. Okay.
It's what?
The F3.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's same example. Let me do one more thing. Here I'm putting some numbers here, notes. Okay. I'll put some notes here. Okay. Which is not getting used, but I want to refer this. So I'll say number of days in a year. Now you don't know whether user wants to have 365 or 365.5. So what you do is you say, okay, I'm saying number of days in a year, and this I'm saying 365.25. Now, since anyway 365.25,
You said
sorry.
like 365 or 366, right? What is like 365.25 like?
On average, I'm taking, see, in 4 years if you take, right? So
Okay,
365 plus
okay.
365 plus 365 plus 366 by 4, you get 365.5, correct? On average, year is made of
The first 4
365.25
years we
days.
get it. Okay.
Correct.
I got it.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So in this case, I have put a different number here, okay? And now here, instead of doing 365, I want to refer it to this location. So I will select it and hit enter.
I mean that instead of 365.25, you are saying O3 or 2 O2.
O3, exactly. O2, sorry. Yeah, O2. Right? I am referencing it here.
That means like O2 will change, right? O2, O3.
Correct. That's why I took it to show you. Okay.
Instead of that,
Now,
we put the number directly. Like
no,
this,
no,
if
no,
we
no, 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 no.
it will change, right?
No, tomorrow, let's say, okay, now if you put 365 and you do everything 365, and your manager says, your team lead says, no, don't use 365.25, use 365. Then you have to go and change all the 100,000 million locations. Yes or no?
No, right? Like, okay.
No, let's say you put 365 here and
the
everywhere.
number.
No. I'm saying if you put 365 and you are putting 365 everywhere.
Yes.
Okay. 365.25 we are putting everywhere. Then you show it to your lead and lead says, no, this is not right. Put 365 only. Don't put 365.25. Then you'll have to go and change everything, isn't it?
Everything. Okay, that means in my doubt is like in one you see, before you have kept the number, right? Instead of the cell representation, you kept the number, right? Like that only we can change the formula and we can drag it, right? Like so that it can take that number and it can change, right?
You can do that, but I'm telling you the problem. Problem is if you have to go and change the number, you have to change the number in all the 20 cells. No.
Okay.
You'll have to change the at all the 20 cells, correct? If I tell you, no, what you did is wrong. No, it should be 200, not 300. Then you have to go and change everywhere, correct? So instead,
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll put it a number here, okay? And I'm telling you different ways of doing same thing, okay? Which one you want to use is again up to you. Whichever you feel
What
is
I said is
easy.
also correct only, right? Like small.
Yeah, what you said is correct, but that is not preferred because you'll have to change. If you make a mistake, you'll have to change at multiple places.
Multiple places, like at one step, like in E2, you have written the formula, right? For the first cell.
Wait.
There itself, I kept 365.25. Instead of 365.25, I'll keep 365 and I'll drag it.
That's what I'm saying. It's okay. That's I made a mistake here. See, when you're dragging it, what are you doing? You are changing the thing, right?
This number I was saying, instead of 0.25, like
Oh,
I'll be
listen
saying,
to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me.
okay, sorry.
When no, listen. When you're dragging it, what are you doing? You are changing the number, right? Now, let's say you are saying that I will change it to 365, correct?
Yes,
And
yes.
then I will drag it.
Yeah, then
Dragging
got
means dragging means what you're changing, correct? You're changing
okay.
only, right? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Correct. So you are changing it now. If you have 1,000 or 10,000 or 50,000, you have to go and change all the 50,000 rows.
Okay,
Yes,
that means you need to drag and change everything you're saying.
correct. Yes.
Okay,
So
yes, I agree to that.
So I'm telling, see, what you're saying is right. That's what I said. Okay, but the easier way is you don't
Okay,
want to you don't want to drag it.
instead of hard
Okay.
way, like we just in the smart way, we'll just like
Yes.
statistic
Yes.
kind of
Correct. So now, okay, I come here and I'm referencing it to 365.25. Correct.
like okay, we'll fix the one location and we'll use that location.
Correct. Now the problem is if you drag here, what happens? The O2 D2 has become D3, which is what exactly we want. That is correct,
Yeah, but
right? We want D3, but O2 has also become O3.
Yes, same. This one also I'm having in mind. Yes. In O3 we not having any value.
Correct. So we don't want O3 to become O2 to become O3.
Yeah, we need to fix
So
that.
we need to fix that exactly. So how do you fix? You put $sign above the column and row. You want to fix row, you put $sign above 2. If you want to fix column, you put $sign above O. If you want to fix both, then you put $sign above both. Okay.
Can you repeat it, Swapnil?
Yes. So if you want to fix the row, okay, see, for a moment, okay, let's look at this example here. Come here. So when you say D2, if I'm moving towards right, what is happening? Column is changing.
Yes, E2.
Right?
Okay.
Here it became E2. Here it became F2. So if you're moving to the right, column is changing. Row is remaining same, right? 2. And it is becoming E2, F2, G2, so on. If I move bottom below, okay, it is becoming D3, D3, D4, D5. Correct? So,
Okay, got it.
this number can change in both the direction. Okay. Your along x-axis, along left to right, which is your column, and it can check up and down, which is your row. Y-axis. Y-axis is your row, right? So when I see here, see, the row is changing, right? So when you move up and down along y-axis, you are changing row. And when you move left, right, you are changing your this. Now let's say I don't want, okay, let me delete all this again. I want to fix column. I don't want column to change. So what I'll do here in D2, I will put $sign before D. I have put $sign before D. That means I don't want D to change. So now when you go and paste here, see, D2 remains D2, isn't it?
Okay,
D
instead of
is not
changing.
changed. Yes.
F2 and G2, it is remaining as D2 only.
Correct. But if I copy paste down, you see, it is becoming D3, D4, D5.
I mean, now the letter has fixed and numbers are changing. Like
Exactly.
what we get, since we
So,
kept dollar, the D is remain fixed in. Like,
correct. We put dollar before D. That means I'm telling Excel, don't change D. D is fixed. Okay. So same thing. What I'll do here is I will tell to Action both not D. Both O and 2 is fixed. Don't change O2. Everywhere put O2 only.
Okay. If we do not keep dollar for 2 means it will again go for 3, 4, 5, 6.
Exactly. That is good if you have to
Ah,
divide every row with different numbers.
yes, yes.
If you divide every row with different numbers, then we should not fix O2,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It will take what number you want to divide, and you divide. So if row num should be divided with 300, 2 with 200, 3 with 150, 155, then you don't make it fixed. Okay, and then we have to write series of values here: 300, 400, 200, 150, 125, whatever, and then it is dividing this with this and doing it here. But
But
in this
for all
case, yes, it has to be constant for all, right? So what we do is we say O2 and hit enter, and now when you do double click, you see it is O2 only, right?
Oh.
Now, if boss says, no, 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 don't do 300, do it 400 or do it 600. You do 600, automatically all these are changed. You don't even have to drag here now.
Okay. But if you have different numbers means like we'll keep
That also it
only
will automatically do, no. See, once you fix the formula, when you link the formula, it doesn't matter. You change it, it will get updated here.
if like same number like for all the same formula means
Right.
like number of days in year is fixed, right? That's why where the same formula is for all.
Correct. Correct.
Otherwise, if for every single date of birth is and some other value means again formula will be changed, right? Like O will be fixed and number
Correct.
like dollar.
Correct. 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 Okay. Now, logically speaking, here we should fix D. Correct. But then it is not required because right side we have some other column. So you cannot move to the right. Correct. But yes, there are some, we'll do some difference. When we do some difference and those kind of things where we sometimes will have to fix rows, sometimes we have to fix columns, sometimes we have to fix both. We'll see that.
Okay. Okay, we'll see.
Okay. So yes, this is another very important formula, and this is very useful. Makes sense? So see, we call it as absolute reference versus relative reference. Okay. So when we say D2, this is relative reference. Means when you move to the right, to the left, up or down, the D2 will change. So it is relative. It is relative to D2. If you go up, the up of D2, which is D1, will be selected. If you go down, relative to D2, D3 will be selected. If you go to the right, reference to D2, E2 will be selected. If you go to the left, the reference of D2, C2 will be selected. So we call it as relative reference. And but when we fix it, when you put dollar here, it becomes absolute reference.
That means it
Okay,
won't change.
it is yes, no, it will not change. It will always take D2.
Okay. Relative and absolute, right?
Yes. Okay.
Yes, got it, Swapnil.
Perfect. Okay. So now we'll make it at 365.25. So you get, let's make some change. Okay. We don't want it to have same, so we'll make it 75, 82. Okay. 83. Okay. Let's make it as 72. Let it be. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here, okay, let's save this file. Okay, I have not saved it. Let me save it. So computer, browse. Okay, on desktop, I'll say Excel. And November 8, I'll put your time itself. Okay. Yeah. So, so you get it. Now, what I'll do is in marks, okay, I'm going to delete this percentage and I'm going to call this as marks 1, subject 1. Let's say there are 3 subjects, okay? marks 3, and then I do total and I do average. Okay. Now, since this should be similar to this, I go format paint, right? Which is there in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, everywhere. So I click on format paint. I go and I select here. Okay. So this has become okay, this has become sorry. So let's say, I assign some marks here. Okay. 78, 65. Now, what happened earlier? I had put average, right? So the cell type have become average. Cell type has become average. Okay. I need to go back and I say format cells, and instead of percentage, I will go and say number and 0. Okay. The cell type has changed. 0.788 became 1, but we'll make it as 78. So, so that's how you can change format from number to percentage, percentage to currency, to date, and etc. So let me put some number, random number. Oops.
Depends on the requirement, we should change the format.
Yes. Whatever information you want to save. Okay.
Like the Excel, no, right? Like what kind of format? But if any user is seeing, like how do they know like this is like what kind of format? They just select and they'll see, right?
So you look at the header, right?
Okay.
If you look at the header, okay, header will tell you what information needs to be there. Okay. Now city means it has to be text only, isn't it?
Okay, but like in numbers, like it is like what percentage or number, like if any other like some different user came and see a Excel file, they'll get they'll see, right, like what is these are numbers represent number or like percentage or something like.
Okay. Now see, let's say I'm creating this Excel. Okay. Of course, I'm creating this Excel. Now, when you're creating this Excel, you should know what data it has to be there, right? Somebody will tell you the data. Assume that, you are, this is student record, right? Let's say you are coordinator, or you are in charge of data analytics for your university, right? So the professor will tell you, these are the columns I need, and these are the data that I need to store. So you can ask all your doubt to the professor about what type should be, right? And see here, I'm purposely putting marks as without any decimal, but marks will also have decimal point, correct? So your professor will tell you, okay, need to ask the person or from where you are getting the data, right? Source will tell you what kind of data it will have here. So if I am responsible giving marks, so I'll tell you that, marks has to be between 0 and 100, should not have decimal point, or should have 1 decimal point or 2 decimal point. Okay, what is minimum, what is maximum? Okay, I'll be telling you if I am the responsible for the data.
Got it.
Right?
Like sometimes like they directly don't give the Excel file. Like if you open the Excel file, some data will be there.
No, wait. That is next thing we'll do. I'm just showing, because see, once you have the Excel, right, then there is no need to do all these things, right? Then date will be there. Then if I had taken an existing Excel, then I wouldn't have been able to show you the date, how to write date, how to do the format, correct? So 99% of the time, or maybe every time, you will have the Excel file only. Okay, you will not have to do all these things. But I'm telling you how to format, how to do this, so that you know from scratch.
Okay.
You won't be generating 1000 files, right? You can't write 1000 files. So
Okay.
there will be some system. There will be some system like CSV or Excel or database, okay, which will have the data. Our job will be to just work on it. Okay. I'm taking one step back so that you know how the Excels are created.
Okay, Swapna.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll stop here today. Okay. I have my office stuff coming up. So I'll stop here. Do let me know if you have any questions before we end the session.